Happy
And
birthday,
then
grandson starts kin. We saw her in um, Victorian's first dance chapter, I think it was.
at the she
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
bastard daughter and
So
one of the
she's Lord Hewitt's.
So
Anyway,
George will steal even from the Bible.
oh, he's one of his favorite targets, I think. Even yet, everyone says Kirsty.
Accuracy.
There's it's his feet that are as big as hams here, whereas we usually see hands referred to as being big as hams. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So the line is, his feet had grown huge and soft and puffy, shapeless things as big as hams. So I thought that was kind of interesting, that given all the ham references.
Right.
Buffering something fierce for me, says Triss.
It didn't start out that way, though.
Hey guys, historical tree. It sounds like Triss is having some serious internet buffering problems, says Kirsty. Now, I found it really hard to connect to StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay now, says Kirsty. Okay. It took me a while to get connected to StreamYard. It was acting funny. But I don't know.
It didn't take me any time at all.
It's cleared up, says Triss. Well, that's good.
Yeah. But yeah,
I definitely noticed some problems with the. I just lost audio.
Dungeons.
You went out there for me for a bit, so I don't know.
There was a phone call coming in. Did it come back? Did the audio come back?
Okay, so yeah, your mic cut out while you were talking there, yeah. But yeah, I came back. Hello, deck of cards. Wow, we got a lot of people here today. People like their Forsaken.
If only the internet would show.
We're not reading the. We feel like we could read this chapter, but we're not. So because we don't think that, we think that if you want to hear the chapter, you should find the recording. The easiest place is probably Preston's YouTube channel.
Yeah, and that's George reading his own work.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other channels we've seen strike their videos on their rereads of chapters kept the sample chapters, even though they got rid of all the other ones that they've done.
Well, the point is, this is readily available from GitHub, and so it doesn't do them any good to have it taken down.
Right.
Let's see here. There's a rat parallel with Theon. Rats moved in the darkness, swimming through the water. They would bite him as he slept until he woke and drove them off with shouts and thrashings. There's a nice little parallel between Reek, Theon, and Aaron here.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Yeah, we'll probably do some theorizing and talking at the end here, because I don't plan on taking a whole lot of time to go through this. I didn't see that much stuff that made me want to dive in at the moment of the words that caused me. But of course, there's plenty to say about, Sam and the Citadel and Euron and so forth, right?
Right.
The light leaving definitely reminds me of Melisandre and Davos there. The light would leave when the mute did, and once again his world would become a damp darkness, smelling of grime and mold and feces. That kind of reminds me of the discussion of with and also with Florent, right? That because she does take the torch away from Florent,
right?
As he begs her not to, right? So that definitely seems to harken back to me to Dragonstone.
Yeah.
Of course, there's lots of madness references. What madness is this? See terms of Targaryens episodes 1 through 7.
I don't know what we were watching, but the word madness popped up on the screen, and I'm like, "What madness is this?" It might have been the new Master.
Which by the way, is actually, which is
broke
probably, I think when I came up with it.
But,
go ahead.
Well, I was going
to say, when I came up with it. Oh, you watched Masters of the Universe, you said?
Yeah.
I mean, I refer to the Blackfish. What madness is this? So anyway, the original author would be George and the Blackfish. Drink with me, your king commands it. So the most obvious parallel there is Robert saying that exact thing to Ned when Barristan and Ned convince him not to go into the melee. What do you feel about Mel's logic that shadows are servants of R'hllor?
I doubt it very seriously.
Well, but what do you think about it in terms of the others being servants of R'hllor?
That's possible.
What if you take it that way? Yeah.
Well, I mean,
this idea that they're two sides of the same coin kind of thing.
Yeah, when it comes to George, and knowing that he's specifically lying to us from the get, you have to take everything and kind of flip it on its head, or just completely flip it over altogether. Yeah. Well, I mean, if ice can burn,
that's why I say two sides of the same coin. That's but R'hllor is the right. That's what I'm saying. But R'hllor is the others are ice and R'hllor's fire and others are ice. Yeah. But that goes. So yeah, exactly what you're saying, right? Nothing burns like the cold and so forth. And are they two sides of the same coin? And that's the whole point of the argument with shadows being servants of R'hllor and so forth. The Great Other is also seen as an enemy to R'hllor. Yes, but are they, right? Or are they? I mean, it could be that Bran is an enemy of R'hllor. That's that right. One of the things you have to ask is do these things somehow get back to being the ideas that you dismiss as obviously incorrect get back to being true? Because that's certainly one of Gene Wolfe's favorite tricks and probably one of George's favorite tricks as well. So any idea that you dismiss as that was the first idea is quite possibly somehow true.
It's been what?
Or a way that it could be interpreted as true.
Yeah, it's been 8,000 years since the Long Night, roughly, right? Or so we're told.
There's a comment about that. Yeah, makes sense to me because I think R'hllor is like Dracula and shadows being a term for the dead in history and for vampires in mythology literature. Isn't Bran a sort of a pawn of the old gods or messenger of them? Maybe, or he may be the old gods. There's some symbolism that would be really apt if time traveling Bran is the old gods and if he's in fact gone back in time and created himself to create the very paradox that is God, essentially, right? So that's one possibility.
Oh, damn. All right. I'm not a huge lover of the time traveling Bran and all that, but creating himself the way that Cat, my special boy, she's like, that's we know that to move a person, you're tinkling. It's probably not the right word. There's still free will. You can go left or right, but if somebody kind of makes a memory of, the last time I was here, I did that in your mind, then you're more likely to go to the direction they want, but you don't have to. So the whole special boy and the girl she gave up in her heart, or wherever the words are, but it was Bran, her special boy. If that I need to create Ned, the special boy. I mean, whatever is used to get her to kind of force the issue a little bit of not force, but to create Bran. I mean, also that just kind of clicked in my head. That's why he's her special.
Well, keep in mind, he is much more eternal than Old Nan. Old Nan implies that Bran is much older than he is. So, which I mean, it's right there on the page that she says, the stories are older than me. They're even older than you.
Yeah, well, I could be he's every Brandon, which means he would be his uncle, maybe.
So historical tree says, OMG, do you think he is the Brandon the Builder? That's the actual comment on the screen right now.
Yeah. That's
So
the other
it is.
part of that I take. That is, he's all the way back to Brand the Builder.
He definitely goes back to before Old Nan's birth, right? So,
Yeah.
Like George has basically told us he goes back to before Old Nan's birth. And so, what do you think about the theory that Old Nan is a child of the forest? Ooh, that's interesting.
I like it.
Now, I personally am pretty much in love with the Rowan Weber's Old Nan theory, but because of all the parallels with Sansa that it creates. But in Glamour, yeah, sure, of course that would be part of it. That makes sense.
Well, I mean, could she
That's
be like
interesting. It's an interesting option.
Song? I mean, having Children of the Forest blood and having more of it than most offshoot of Children of the Forest and human would explain her extended years because of how long Children of the Forest live.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. It's not like we see her in a tree or something. So how has she lived it? How does she live so long in this world? That's a good question.
Yeah,
all right, I could see that.
I like her having Children of the Forest blood. Not to mention she's telling stories, right? She's in not in song, but she is kind of singing the songs of what came before by just sitting there telling stories over and over again.
I don't know that we get it confirmed that she's 3 feet tall. I don't think that's confirmed, is it?
That's the Ghost of High Heart.
Truly confirmed. Yeah, I don't think that's. I think you may be crossing people here.
Yeah, that might be the Ghost of High Heart. I'm
I think
not sure on that. Can you pop out to?
Yeah.
Or not?
Sort of. I think. Yeah. So yeah. Maybe crossing things there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop out of my. I got Forsaken.
So,
I'm gonna go to characters and see if I can pull up anything on Old Man. Just for.
Sorrel Tree's gonna try and do that too. So.
Okay.
Anyway, should we get back? I mean, I could go on and on about why it's important that Bran be creating himself and symbolism and so forth. But let's go see Trevor Turkins episode 1. But let's go.
No, don't go see
in terms of the symbolism.
No, I'm kidding.
Anyway, so your king commands it. Like I said, the most obvious parallel is Robert telling Ned to drink. But Viserys says your king commands it when he's trying to convince Jorah to attack Dany. And Euron himself says your king commands it when Victarion asks why he should fetch Dany.
All right.
Time traveling could happen with him going to the Fey realm, otherworld, where one day there's like hundreds of years in the human realm, and there's a cycle that resets and starts again, maybe. Oh, because that is a nice reference to many fantasy stories and so forth. Huh. Yeah, maybe that as you go forward and backward, that you're going forward and backward in time through the weird trees, and when you come out, you're not coming out where you were, and so forth. Okay, I like that. But the idea that there's no difference between the past and the future and the present.
I'm a bit of a farmer, and it's time to get my eyes checked. I'm sitting there scrolling, and I get to what I thought was the O's and looking for Old Nan, but it was Q's. I couldn't see the little slash.
Yeah, well, it happens.
All right, here's Nan's description. Nan is an ugly old woman. She is toothless, shrunken, and wrinkled, almost blind. She is too weak to climb the stairs. She has only a small amount of hair left to cover her head. Old Nan is fond of needlework and telling stories. According to her, the wall marks the end of the world. Occasionally, when annoyed with her great grandson Hodor, she may give him a swat in the head. How's she gonna do that? He's like 7 feet
shrunken. Tall. Yeah, she's shrunken.
He must be like, come here, get down here, down here.
Whack. Whack. What's that? A shrunken old woman is whacking us. I'm the tall guy on top of his head. You're right.
It's trying to remind you of Dunk the Lunk. Thick as a castle.
Yeah. I'll give you. Yes, and thus hinting that she's from the Dunk stories. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I do like the Madam Weber, but also like the Children of the Forest blood. So.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. If I had a tongue of every man who cursed me, I could make a cloak of them. So Bolton's takes skins and Euron takes tongues, and he's kind of tying those two together there, right?
Right. But we kind of think, I think
Oh,
he
and
takes tongues the
historic.
exact same way that Varys takes tongues. They can't tell his secrets.
Okay.
And if he's using skin changing
Okay.
ability to find out what they know, what they've read, because I mean, let's say he's got one of them children, he's got the tongue stuck out in another city. What's the quickest way for him to get that information? Would be to Arya Nymeria travel to that child and basically kind of read their mind, go through their thoughts, finding out what they know, all the different children. Like when he's talking to Illyrio, he says he needs 50 more children. So how many children do he have, or does he have? Do he have?
Children of the Forest have giant blood in them, so that might explain Hodor. I
Ooh,
like that idea. Although I think it's
I
supposed to
do
be.
too.
I think it's supposed to be that his height comes from his father rather than his mother. But anyway.
Well, George never confirmed. He confirmed Brienne, but he didn't confirm Hodor, and that might be the reason. Nan represents the children of the forest, and
Okay.
Hodor representing the giant's blood. Not to mention in the show when he comes tromping through, then Osha looks at him and goes, "Man, he got some giant's blood in him." Seeing dangly bits.
Do we want to read some of the dream symbolism and so forth? I don't know. Anything interesting to talk about?
You can. I mean, yeah, Ghost of High is 3 feet tall.
You get these dwarfs. You get these dwarfs a few times. The dwarfs capering.
Mm-hmm.
The word interspecies stuff might explain as disorder as well. You get these. You get these. So, clad head to heel in scale as dark as onyx, he sat upon a mound of blackened skulls. His dwarfs capered round his feet, and a forest burned behind him. And we get the dwarves later, and at the time, I thought it might be a hint towards Tony Teflon's theory about the hands of pale fire, but I don't know because it's right here without the woman. So maybe it doesn't mean that. Maybe there's something else going on here with the dwarves. Anyway,
Well,
I'm not sure what's going on there with the dwarves.
In the house of the Undying that Dany sees
ties that together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think is worth mentioning is this is clearly tied to that chapter. That she's drinking Shade of the Evening and Aaron's drinking Shade of the Evening, and they're both having similar visions. So it's definitely worth noting that. I also think it's funny how little love Clash seems to get from the fandom when everybody seems to love this chapter and love the House of the Undying. And personally, I think the end of Clash is the best end of any of the books.
Okay.
So if you judge by the ending of the book, you could put it at or near the top. It's also much better if you think that Dorcas Varys is actually the one that's trying to kill Tyrion. I find it much more fun to read if you think of it that way. She sounds sort of like Melisandre without her choker on. Okay. I think she's old and wrinkled, and maybe okay.
And Ghost of High Heart reminds me of a Sunday.
The bleeding star bespoke the end, he said to Aaron. These are the last days, when the world shall be broken and remade. A new god shall be born from the graves and charnel pits. And Euron lifted a great horn to his lips and blew, and dragons and krakens and sphinxes came at his command and bowed before him. Kneel, brother. I am your king. I am your god. Worship me, and I will raise you up to be my priest. Never! No godless man may sit the sea stone chair. Why would I want that hard black rock? Rather look again to see where I am seated. Okay. Now, one of the things that's interesting about this, of course, you got the maiden, the father, the mother, the warrior, the crone, the smith, the stranger. Of queer foreign gods, the great shepherd, the black goat, three-headed. Of course, the great shepherd is itself a reference to Jesus. Three-headed trios, and the pale child Bacalon, which is and seven times never kill man, the Lord of Light, and the butterfly god of Noth. So, I just wanted to make note of some of those references there. Lena Tyrell and the Ghost of High Heart in description could literally be twins.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because she's pretty damn short.
It's only a dream. Foul like wine. He goes back to the King's Moot and so forth, right? He heard the pounding of the waves, the hammer of his god calling him to battle. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting symbolism there. Could the hammer of the waters potentially,
Right.
which could mean that the drowned god is really the old gods.
Oh,
Anyway,
I think they're.
one way to
Well, I
look
mean,
at it.
we'll never see gods in here, so I don't know if there is gods. Are gods in the story?
Well,
I'm having a problem with English today, really bad. So
we've seen the power of the hive mind of the Weirwoods, right?
right.
And so the old gods are gods in that sense, right? They're a hive mind that has real power to look back in time, probably change the past based upon all the warnings that basically warning Bran, don't you be changing the past now, right?
Yeah.
Which implies that Bran's going to change the past.
When it comes to the gods of this story, I think of the riddle that Varys asked Tyrion. I mean, power resides where men believe it. So if they believe in a type of god, then that's that
too.
Yeah,
that's also definitely here.
Yeah. Well,
that's where I say that quote about there not being gods isn't really true.
Right.
There's the power of symbols, the power of belief, and the power of symbols is a huge portion of the Book of the New Sun. See, the Asher's True Born Sun YouTube channel.
Look at Ned. All right, he's in King's Landing. His leg was shattered. It's in plaster because King's Landing's God's wood. Their heart tree is an oak, not a weirwood. But his leg feels better just being there, and he thinks it's the old gods that are relieving his pain. So it's his belief.
There's a reason why it's almost impossible to bring new cough medicine or pain relief to the market, because it's extremely difficult to do because the placebo effect is so strong. And of course, it didn't used to be that strong because people didn't really used to believe in pills very much or injections or whatever, right? So they used to put much more faith in God and faith healing. And so those effects that are very real effects of the placebo effect were extremely strong coming from a preacher you believed, and much weaker back then coming from a medicine than they are today, right? So anyway, my point is George saying that there are no gods. Well, we know that there is a hive mind that has real power, at least the power to look back and forward in time. We know that we know that Melisandre has some real power, that she doesn't even need her powders and things anymore because she's gaining so much power recently. So there's real magic. There's the power of faith, right? And so now saying there's no gods is kind of misleading.
The other coin, and this is the other side of that coin that I can't stand, is that this is a sci-fi story. It's not magic. It's all mental, which I hate. I freaking hate that. I love magic my fantasy. I want to read a fantasy story.
It may be that George is thinking that way.
Right. Well, I like I said before, I think that's a rope-a-dope. Maybe he's a sci-fi writer. He wrote all these sci-fi things.
Well,
we can take things
we believe,
put him here.
We both believe that it's quite likely.
Yeah.
it's quite likely that there will be a reference that makes that technically true, but doesn't really change the story, right? He's not gonna suddenly have some magic system where you understand how everything works. He's not
Jon
going
Snow
to.
and Andy are going to be running down a beach, and then there's going to be the Statue of Liberty. And he's like, "No!"
Something like that. There could be. Yeah, that's part of the point. That's our point. Is that could
Well, I mean,
absolutely happen, and it doesn't really change the story.
It's hinted that north of Ashai that there might be something in there that where the gene splicing and spaceship and whatever. Well, I'll look at it this way. As
Sand
much
ship.
as I
What
hate
about
the
the sand
idea
ship?
of this might be sci-fi and hiding, Jon Snow's still Jon Snow. Danny's still Danny. Rob, until he
Right.
died, was still
It's
Rob.
like if somebody wakes up in a story at the end and it's a dream, that doesn't make it less real. It makes it more real. I keep saying that it's still the same story. It's just it could actually be an actual dream. That doesn't make it less real. It makes it more real, and it makes it still a good story.
I
It's
remember the
people have
theory
this problem with.
about The Walking Dead where Rick Grimes is going to wake up from his coma in the hospital, and that the whole damn thing was a coma dream. That was the theory.
That doesn't make the story any different. It doesn't make the story itself any different. And if anything, it makes it. It's 100% false if it's not a dream. Like it's a fictional story that's 100% false. If it's not a dream that you can still enjoy. You can enjoy a 100% false fictional story because that's the definition of fiction. And if they wake up and it's a dream, it's still a story that was a great story that could now actually be more real because it could be that actually was somebody writing down their dream. It could be a much more real story than it was, and it's still the same story. And similarly,
it was the story we made along the way.
Yeah, it's the story along the way. Absolutely, exactly. So anyway,
it's the same thing I say about a Game of Thrones show. All right, you might hate the last 2 seasons with a passion, but
I would love to get to Moon Man's latest video. By the way,
what's that?
I would love us to get to Moon Man's latest video today, either today or Wednesday. But anyway,
okay, all right, I'll shut up.
All right, where were we? The Hammer of God. Okay. We have to do this. We have to read this paragraph. Okay, actually, let's read the 2 paragraphs. Not Victarion. Victarion offered himself to the captains and kings, but they had spurned him. Not Asha. In his heart, Aeron had always loved Asha best of all his brother Balon's children. The drow god had blessed her with a warrior spirit and the wisdom of a king, but he had cursed her with a woman's body, too. No woman had ever ruled the Iron Islands. She should never have made a claim. She should have spoken for Victarion, added her own strength to his. It was not too late. Aeron had decided as he shivered in the sea. If Victarion took Asha for his wife, they could yet rule together, king and queen. In ancient days, each isle had its salt king and its rock king. Let the old way return. Which that's really interesting because first off, he's not far off from Asha and Victarion in their own discussions about this. But more important, there's something there about the Salt King and Rock King. He's saying that they would both be king. He's not saying she should be the submissive wife to Victarion. He acknowledges that she's the one with the wisdom that she, right. And he's saying that they should rule together. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. And Victarion was kind of there, and Asha was like, no, that's not what I meant.
Well, I mean, I kind of think of it as Salt King, Rock King. The Salt King would be like the hand of the king type thing, which would be the one really doing.
Right, that's my point. He's really close. He's really close to where they almost were as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. My lord, what is this place? My lord father's castle on Oakenshield. All right, so it's Philia Flowers is her name. I'm going to give him sons. So many sons. He has sons. Baseborn boys and mongrels, Euron says. My sons will come before them. He has sworn. Sworn by your own drowned god. Aeron would have wept for her. Tears of blood, he thought. So there's some weird stigmata there, right? This idea of the bloody eyes.
Right.
You must bear a message to my brother, not Euron, but Victarion, Lord Captain of the Iron Fleet. Do you know the men I mean? Philia sat back from him. Yes, she said. But I could bring him any messages. He's gone. Gone? That was the coolest blow of all. Tyrion is gone. Your God has forsaken you. You're wrong. It was me who taught you how to pray, little brother. Have you forgotten? Let me see here. We got to get to the three brothers. And not even you would dare. I'm your brother. No man is more accursed than the kinslayer. And yet I wear a crown and you rot in chains. How is it that your drowned God allows that when I have killed 3 brothers? 3? Well, if you count half brothers. Do you remember little Robin? Wretched creature. Do you remember that big head of his, how soft it was? All he could do was mule and shit. He was my second. Harlan was my first. All I had to do was pinch his nose shut. The grayscale had turned his mouth to stone, so he could not cry out. His eyes grew frantic as he died. They begged me. When the life went out of them, I went out and pissed into the sea, waiting for the god to strike me down. None did. Oh, and Balon was the third, but you knew that. I could not do the deed myself, but it was my hand that pushed him off the bridge. Did the Iron Men have Squisher DNA? Yeah, probably. They're somehow old. They're somehow different than the first men, but also here before the first men, or something along those lines, right?
It supposedly came from the west, which would put them at the far east of Essos. So, which would probably be the Empire of the Dawn. Seems how where it is on the map. So yeah, probably some Squisher DNA in there too, because you got the potential of the gene splicing being done, then the half tiger woman wife for the Bloodstone Emperor and all that. So yeah.
A holy man with holy blood. I may have need of that blood later. A holy man with holy blood.
Holy blood, Batman.
He was dead within hours of being. He was dead within hours of being shackled to the wall, but the mutes left his body there to ripen for 3 days afterwards. This is the priest of Valor that they burned. The dragon's shy. That's an interesting idea. I haven't heard that one before. I mean, I think the Empire of the Dawn was humans that formed the Valerians through, they were the shepherds that they were experimenting on, and they accidentally made them the masters of the dragons, which then resulted in the destruction of the Empire of the Dawn, is how I've always taken it. I think that's kind of they're like a joint collab between David Lightbringer and like History of Westeros, where they discuss that.
But I mean, yeah, I agree.
But anyway,
they needed something.
I was trying to do the 3 days.
They needed something to bind the dragons to where they wouldn't be like cannibal or sheep stealer. Wow, they needed a lanyard a lasso to make them controllable, and that's when they created the shepherds because of their occupation. And I don't think they had silver gold hair and lilac eyes back then. I think it's a byproduct of the process that created the dragon riders.
Blackstone structures have dragon-sized tunnels. I don't know about that, because the dragon sizes are so different in some cases. I'm not sure that they could fit the Black Dread at his end height.
Now, we see 2 types of black stone in here. You got the fused black stone from Storm's End and the Dragon Roads, which aren't the black oily. They have it is shy.
Or the Blackstone versus East.
Yeah. So I mean, does that mean that the black oily is from the Squishers, or does that mean that black oily is from the Empire of the Dawn?
Yeah, there's definitely under the high tower. I just don't know that it's really big enough to fit like the Black Dread. Is my point. I don't know. We have anything that indicates it's that huge.
I mean, all that black stone that we see, other than the ones that we know were
Fused
created
Blackstone.
by the Valerians, was probably Empire of the Dawn. there's definitely dragons there. Yeah, dragon battle isle or battle whatever the high tower is sitting on before
Yeah,
dragon.
Battle Isle. Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah,
there was definitely
yeah,
dragons during the Empire of the Dawn for sure.
absolutely. So anyway, my point was that that's 3 days in the tomb symbolism, some more Jesus references there with the he was dead. The mutes left his body there to ripen for 3 days afterwards. It probably is. The high tower is massive. It might be. I just don't think it's. I don't think it's noted that it's that as big as
The
you
only
think you seem to
problem,
think it is.
I,
Is
I
my point.
don't know how true that. I know the art that we get for the tower and its base and the island. Um, there's so many art that's being done. George can't go, yeah. No, do that. I mean, he'd never sleep. So I don't know how realistic the artwork we have on that specific area is. It could be, but until I get a picture that George says, "Oh, no, that's
Yeah, I don't mean to
100%
completely
accurate."
dismiss the idea. Yeah, I don't mean to completely dismiss the idea. It's an interesting concept that they may have, or or maybe they did want to be able to have their dragons with them through their tunnels. That's certainly reasonable as well,
Well,
right?
stop thinking
Whether it's
about
because
this,
the
okay?
dragons decided, yeah, it's definitely.
If to make to create the black fused stone, the dragons would have to have access to that particular area. You know what I mean? I mean, instead, I mean, they could probably start in the center and work their way out type situation. But to
Yeah,
have access
yeah,
to all that, there should be
or
tunnels the size big enough. I mean, not
well, there's
Balerion
this
or
theory that
anything.
there's different dragons too. That there's
Yeah,
different sizes and types of dragons that do different things, and so the tunnel-sized
yeah. I
dragons
mean,
that build
yeah,
tunnels are
Seago,
different from the war
whatever
dragons,
the
right?
dragon is. So I mean, it's a
Secrets of the Citadel activated her account again. She's not coming back, but she's putting back all the videos and streams for everyone over the next couple of weeks. She disabled comments. Yeah, I wish that's what BarTube had done. BarTube actually marked hers as private. Not first she tried unlisted, and it's probably my fault that they got marked as private because I posted some links and people probably left nasty comments because Reddit people are evil. But um, so BarTube actually marked her. Of course, the only one that I knew about was the Rob Stark video, right? And so I posted links to that, and I'm afraid that may have caused nasty comments that caused her to mark her videos private. Um, I
shame
didn't leave
on you.
nasty comments, of course.
Shame.
Uh,
Shame.
I mean, if I or maybe it's the nice comments and she didn't like the nice comments, they were
Let me just
distracting her,
clarify.
so she
That
chased
was
private.
me
That's
making
possible.
the bell ringing sound
I know, I
motion.
know, I know.
Making sure.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. That's what she said. Uh, Secrets of the Citadel. No, I was saying that BarTube that I really liked BarTube's Rob Stark video, so I was posting links to it everywhere, and that may have caused her to get some nasty comments because nobody else likes that theory. A lot of people hate that theory. So
What
anyway,
theory is that?
there's a lot of people. Rob Stark's parentage.
Oh, Bren.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
I was
BarTube
making.
video. Tony talks about it. Yeah.
I,
Tony talks. Tony says, this is me doing a video on BarTube's video. I don't know. I never do this, but this is such a yeah. Like I said, there's no videos to watch, Christy. I can give you a link to a private video that you can't watch. So there's no point. I take that back. You can watch Tony's video on BarTube's video. So um, yeah, and it's not just her. She had a partner. Um, I can't remember what his name was. It might be mentioned in Tony's video. So Tony Tony made a video on BarTube's video, and he, like you said, I don't do this, but this theory is so great it needs more attention. Um, so I have a link to it in one or maybe many of the triplet Targaryen videos, somewhere in one of the descriptions, maybe all of them. I linked to Bartube's video and to Tony's video about Bartube's video. The high tower walls are 700 feet tall, and the tower itself is over 800 feet tall. The base got to be huge. I'm not arguing about it. Yeah. Again, I'm not disagreeing with you either.
Yeah. Isn't the tower
I'm not
like
actually disagreeing with you either, historical tree. Yeah, it's definitely taller than the wall, and it's definitely a reference to the Book of the New Sun. I talk about that. I talk about the fact that
for dragons to do the fused stone. I mean, there's got to be passages in there that are pretty damn big, I would think.
So I specifically mentioned that the Feast for Crows prologue, or the line from the Feast for Crows. What's the theory about it's the Brandon is actually Rob's father theory, and it's interesting little textual clues. The height is absurd, or the Rob parent is absurd, either or both. Anyway,
Rob.
George has a weird sense of scale. It's because he's referencing the Book of the New Sun. It's so in the Book of the New Sun, in the first book, when he first goes north of the wall, he tells you which birds can and cannot fly over it. And so if you did the analysis, it's 700 to 800 feet tall. And then in the third book, I think it is, he looks back, maybe it's the fourth, I don't know. But anyway, he looks back at how far away he can see it from. And based upon that, if you look at like wikis and things, they'll tell you it's 3,000 feet tall based on how far away you can see the wall. So you've got a wall that's 700 to 800 feet tall based upon up close descriptions, but it can be viewed from such a distance that it has to be like 3,000 feet tall. And so George is referencing the Book of the New Sun when he gives us the Feast for Crows prologue. He's giving us, and you know, Preston's made these videos about how, and it doesn't make any sense where you can see the wall from. And so I'm like, that's because it's a reference, guys. And George made this terrible mistake, and I'm like, no, it's because it's a reference.
Because he steals.
Yeah. Anyway, see the Asherah's true-born son. See, I cleared the screen so you can see right there. Asherah's true-born son. Oh, how did I get teleprompter? What the heck? Just happened.
I don't know.
I lost our comments. How did I lose our comments? Oh, there it is. I figured it out. All right. So anyway, I was trying to point at how it says under my name, Asherah's true-born son. So anyway, he doesn't have a weird sense of scale. It's a reference. Anyway. Let's talk about Pre, he cried as he stormed back and forth. Pre. So,
on the Rob,
that was the name of the demon.
On the Rob, the Rob theory, just to clarify for the person that asked the question, the theory is basically Lysa gets pregnant with Littlefinger's child the same time Kat gets pregnant with Brandon's child, around the time that the Brandon and Littlefinger fight for Kat's hand. Littlefinger's hurt.
You can definitely read it. You can definitely read it as it's 9 months after the wedding to Ned. You could also read it. It's possible to also read that as it's 9 months after the Brandon left. Mm-hmm. It's harder to read it that way, but it can be done. And Rob is she wants Rob to grow as tall as his father, right? And Rob's already tall, and Ned is short. And Brandon is tall. And Brandon is tall.
And remember what I was saying about the size of the Stark bloodline being small, so you could hide that John is older than Rob because he's a smaller child. So when they get together, they'll be about the same size. So they'll think they're about the same age. The same thing can be said about the Tully side of the bloodline, and the Tullys being a larger, more muscular family, more robust than they're the same size, but Rob is a Tully, so they're bigger, and that would explain why he's bigger than John. So it goes both ways on the baby description.
Yes, that's specifically short. Kat talks about the surprise of marrying Ned and how he was so much shorter than she realized. She talks about that, but there's also specific years of age that she wants Rob to reach, and she talks about him when she's talking about him being his father's son and so forth. And she specifically mentions ages that are very irrelevant to Ned and extremely significant to Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's some pretty interesting clues there, and maidenhood and maidenhead are two different things. You take someone's maidenhood when you marry them. You take someone's maidenhead when you take their virginity. And so people read that and they think that they think one is the other, and those are two different things. So anyway,
yeah.
So I was wondering, would you actually be saying your own name, or would you perhaps be cursing the guy that got you into this mess? that was what I was thinking with the pre thing. Um, okay. And when you die, he will judge you harshly, Crow's Eye. So that reminds me of Maribald, because Maribald says, "May the Father judge them harshly about the Salt Pans Raiders." And Toodles thinks he's a secret Greyjoy, born of the loins of Quaylon Greyjoy. And right here we're told, "Blood of my blood, born in the loins of Quaylon Greyjoy."
Okay.
Who would share my triumphs? Victory is sweeter with a loved one by your side.
Well, I mean, he has the opposite. He has the hard feet, hard black feet, that we see with the Ironborn, and then in this chapter, Aaron has the exact opposite now.
Oh yeah,
he has
interesting.
The it's got to be the chalky, white, swollen, wrinkled feet from being in the water, and so it's the exact opposite that the Bearball has. So, I mean, I like that theory.
Beside him stood a shadow in woman's form, long and tall and terrible, her hands alive with pale white fire. Dwarves capered for their amusement, male and female, naked and misshapen, locked in carnal embrace, biting and tearing at each other, as Euron and his mate laughed and laughed and laughed. So, as I said, with the dwarves immediately after there, you can see why Tony Teflon thought this was Cersei immediately, long before the show gives any clue about Cersei and Euron being allied.
And before you just said that, I never knew he said that. I said it when she's called the Light of the West.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. We're almost out of time.
And the description of the dwarves sounds like what the dwarves were doing to the woman in the House of the Undying Vision, because they're
right. Like we said, there's definitely these two. Our POV is drinking the shade of the evening chapters are definitely tied together.
That's the other side. Okay, I think it's Cersei because she's the Light of the West, but the imagery of the dwarfs and what they were doing is the same imagery we get from the House of the Undying. So does that tie it into Dany? So.
Well, this is a really tall woman, which sounds more like Cersei or Melisandre than Dany.
Yeah. How dare you prove me wrong?
Just saying. A red eye with a black pupil, but beneath an iron crown supported by two crows. So the iron crown's kind of interesting because that's more of a King of the North thing than it is the King of the North, the King of the North, the King of the North than it is the Iron Throne. Although it's iron, so that could be an Iron Throne reference. But supported by two crows. I found that really interesting.
Iron Throne is not actually iron, though.
I'm sorry?
The Iron Throne is not actually iron.
It's steel. It's true. Steel. Yeah, good point.
I think it's usable steel that could be made Valyrian steel.
Yeah, some of it might be Valyrian. That's a good point.
I mean, it's done with dragon fire by Valyrian.
Although, given that we're told that there's thousands of Valyrian steel blades, do we need more?
Well, I mean, we only got 200 and something in Westeros or something like that. But
maybe,
I mean, you're ready to fight the others and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, every bit counts, sure. Yeah. But why two crows? Why two crows? Just because you want to balance it and carry it? It's easier to depict it that way? I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
Oh, and the iron. If you make I think the reason that the Kings of Winter had iron and bronze, the iron stops the magic So then you couldn't have people entering your brain as the king. So it would stop them from putting the images that would cause you to turn left or right to try to mess with your mind. So the iron stops that. Um, in my opinion.
I would think that would be Drogon. As far as who or what do you think is the mount to dread? I think it's Drogon, but it
Oh,
could be Euron. Oh, could be Euron. I can see that. Okay, that's an interesting idea.
mm-hmm.
If you view it as lovers, then it could be a reference that she would be with Euron, I suppose.
Then again, I mean, that's where George uses a word and it has multiple
Yeah,
or
I always thought
it
it was
can be
Drogon.
taken a couple of different
Right,
ways.
right, right. That some of them are lovers and some of them are one of them is Drogon, and I think that was Drogon. But
Well, I mean, the first is silver, so we're thinking about the night underneath the stars, but it's not actually Drogon there. It's the horse. It's what she rode for that. So the mount to dread. I mean, it could be Drogon for sure.
yeah, that's how I took it. Naked as the mouthless maiden, her smooth belly just beginning to swell with the child she was carrying, her cheeks red with tears. So again, that's sort of a harkening back to the original tears of blood symbolism, the weirwood stigmata from the beginning of the chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Have courage, girl. All this will be over soon, and we'll feast together in the drowned god's watery halls. She has no tongue to answer with, the pair knew. One of the things that's nice about George reading the chapter is that he knows that it's pronounced Dampere. Anyway, so what do we do next, by the way?
What's that?
You want to do Ariane next?
Yeah, that's fine.
Now, which Ariane chapter though? Because aren't they both called Ariane 1, even though there's two of them? What if it's John?
You would have to
I
look
said,
at the description or the first couple of sentences to figure
well,
out
I
which
think I
one.
think I think GitHub declares one of them to be one and one to be two, so it should be pretty easy. What if it's John and him being a sort of negative force after his resurrection? Oh, that he could be a mount to dread. Interesting.
Yeah, everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. Danny, John, yay, they're going to be great. But what if it's not?
Yeah, and there were certainly all those hints that basically that John would be leading the others, and that Bran would be opposed to him, and that sort of thing. You can definitely find those in the text if you look for them.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this idea that John could in fact be like, let's be clear. The story from R plus L in the books is in the show is Aegon was born at the Tower of Joy, and Dorcas Varys backs Aegon's claim against Dany, and that's literally all that the R plus L mattered in the show. Was right. It's Dorcas Varys backing Aegon and Aegon's claim. Right. That's literally what they felt was the most important thing from that to take from that.
I mean, it's kind of all they had left when they skipped people.
Yeah. But maybe those are the broad strokes George gave to D&D. Yeah. And so they didn't want to do the Jon Snow story from the books. They wanted to do the Aegon story from the books, and that's why he's named Aegon. He's backed by Dorcas Varys. Reminds me of the 200 fallen angels watchmen who rebelled, descended on Earth, and taught humans how to forge swords mashed together because Valyrian steel swords. And of course, it's also a Damascus steel reference. And then the
process,
and then there really are meteor swords, and you, like we said, you could for the low price of $10,000, you could have bought one of the Japanese meteor swords. Right? Didn't we see it go on auction or something?
Well, wasn't that the all the first steel was made out of meteorite until they found out
the
how
best steel. The best steel was made was the Japanese.
Well, I mean, isn't it the smelting process that lets them pull the iron ore and all that stuff out of the rocks and stuff to create the ingots to actually turn into? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I watched Forged in Fire, and that's about it.
Meteor. thought I had this written down somewhere.
I got 4 notebooks
Sorry.
on this table in front of me, and they all have different.
Anyway, yeah, I can't find it. Anyway, at one point, there's specific Japanese swords that were made from meteors and stuff. John of the Books is so much better. It's ridiculous. After reading the books, the show seems goofy. Fair enough. And Lucifer's the fallen dragon, Blackstone. Maybe that Dane started worshiping. Okay, as opposed to or maybe the Danes represent. Okay. So the Danes, yeah. Okay, so the Danes represent. Oh, okay, the Danes in the story are at least a parallel to, if not the actual blood emperor, right? The emperor, and the Stark, of course, the fallen Stark, heart of the fallen Stark, right? And Nissa being a Stark and so forth. Yeah. Okay, absolutely. I did want to say, definitely check out Moon Man's latest. He's talking about how it's extremely likely that the Kingsguard survive in the books, and they don't survive in the play because the play is really based upon the show, and your audience is mostly show watchers, and you don't want to be too confusing, and you don't want to add a major new character like John Cunnington. Instead, you want to use the characters that appeared in the show, such as Oswell, who is in the show, right? And it's an adaptation of the show. It's not an adaptation of the books, and it doesn't confirm something from the books. It confirms something from the show. And anyway, his point is, no, the Kingsguard are still going to be alive from the books. That doesn't mean anything.
I agree. The books are the books. The show's the show. The play's the play.
Right.
I mean, they're different.
The sword is pale. Yeah, I was thinking that as I was saying that, but their sword is pale white, but white, right? Yes, but that doesn't change the fact that they're clearly mentioned, meaning it's clearly a parallel between the Bloodstone Emperor and
what is made out of
here.
the black stone that fell, and when they plunged it in Nissa, the empress, the amethyst empress, his sister, it turned the black stone
to white,
pale
because it's got her in it, and that gives it its warmth.
That's the amethyst empress has the silver gold hair, and
right.
Ding ding, light bulb.
Yep, absolutely. So yes, yes, but it's also clearly the case that there's supposed to be parallel stories, right? That the Bloodstone Emperor killing the Amethyst Empress is supposed to be a parallel to the House Dane forging their sword from the fallen Stark of Nissa. So yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up.
Okay, yeah, we're right out of time.
And we'll look for Arion. We'll look at the GitHub, and we'll talk more about it on Wednesday, because Wednesday we'll probably talk more about Moon Man and the play and so forth. Is the Blackstone not obsidian then? Nissa would be the Night's Queen like figure killed by dragon glass only. Well, no, she's not killed by dragon glass only, because that's how you forge the Lightbringer, right?
Yeah, I mean,
obsidian might be a key ingredient to forming Lightbringer, but she's definitely killed by Lightbringer, which is probably Dawn, right?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
all right. We appreciate it. We ran out a little bit of time there. That's my favorite part about doing the chapters that way. We get a lot more conversation.
That's what we're here for. We're more here for that than we're not here to. We're definitely not here to read the story as we were. Can't be. So it's much better. Yes.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all joining us. We'll be back here Wednesday for Theory Hour. We appreciate it. Y'all have fun. Take care, and bye. Bye, Richard.
Have a good one.